We are so close to December, which means that we are so close to the start of NBA trade season. A lot of players become eligible about mid-December. And because of that, we got a lot of people drawing up fake trades. In today's video, Bleacher Report put together their good old-fashioned NBA trade block big board with deals for the top 10 targets. As you can see, you got Anthony Davis, you got LaMelo Ball. Of course, I have not seen it just yet, but if I had to speculate who else is on this list, I would probably see some Morant, maybe some Trae Young, maybe some Sabonis. You know, some of these teams that have had their star player go down with injury and they're trying to figure out if that guy is a part of the future or these teams just suck. This video is brought to you by Rocket Money. Now, I personally have been using Rocket Money for a few years. When I first downloaded the app, I found out, no kidding, that I was paying for 2 NBA League Pass subscriptions. Now, if you know, you know. That is a lot of bread to be thrown down the drain. But with Rocket Money, I was able to see that I was paying double for the subscription, and I was able to cancel that subscription and save some cash. Rocket Money is an app that helps you manage your money smarter, whether that's cutting useless subscriptions like I did, saving for tickets to the next game, or lowering your cable bill. It fits right into a sports fan's routine. But my favorite thing within Rocket Money is being able to set a budget during the NBA season. I feel like I'm ordering out more times than when I'm outside of season. And it's easy to get lost in how much money you're spending, but within the app, I can set my own personal budget for the food that I'm ordering out. I can also set automatic saving goals, and honestly, it feels really good when you hit that goal. So join in with 5 million other Rocket Money users who are saving smarter every single day. Whether it's cutting out on unnecessary sports subscriptions or finally setting and sticking to your budget, Rocket Money makes it extremely easy. Scan the QR code or hit the link in the description to get started today for free. 10 trades. Zach Buckley, shout out to you. Let's see what you drew up today. Starting out with Jonathan Kuminga. There's a lot of stuff going on in Warrior Land right now. Jimmy Butler making some comments about the team, not really doing the small things in order to win ball games and all. I see a lot of Heat fans having a lot of fun with that, asking if he got his joy back officially again. But yeah, the Kuminga thing has not worked out. It's a poor marriage that we're just waiting for the time where they can finally get a divorce. And as soon as he's eligible for a trade, I'm assuming he will get traded away. And the trade offer is going to be Kuminga, Moody, Buddy Hield, a 2026 first-round pick, top 4 protected, a 2028 first-round swap for Michael Porter Jr. Wow. MPJ is playing out of his mind over there. It's always a good conversation about opportunity and talent, right? Because when he played a part of the Denver Nuggets, I think his best season was like 19 points per game. He was an ultimate role player. And he gets to Brooklyn where he's got the ultimate green light and like, oh man, that guy can help a contender again. As if he didn't just help a contender 2 years ago. He can help a contender again. So if you are the Brooklyn Nets, you traded away Cam Johnson for a 2031, I think it was, first round pick for the Denver Nuggets. And again, we don't know what Jokic going to be doing in 2031. And you get back Michael Porter Jr. And if you're able to flip Michael Porter Jr. for more trade assets, more first round picks, and like, say what you want about Jonathan Kuminga, he is an intriguing trade chip for a team receiving him because he's been so much in that Warrior system. We don't really know exactly how good of a ball player he is. I don't mind this trade for the Brooklyn Nets. I think the Brooklyn Nets walk out of this as bandits, you know, to flip a player that fast. Does this put the Warriors over the hump? I think it's the biggest question of it all. Because Michael Porter Jr., as good as he has been for the Brooklyn Nets, I don't think he provides some of the stuff I think the Warriors need. He obviously just helps because, you know, Kuminga at this point is not really helping with him not really being active. Buddy Hield has had a wishy-washy start to the season, so he obviously helps. But like some of the things I look at for the Golden State Warriors, I'm like, man, this team could really use somebody that can put pressure on the rim. MPJ's not going to do that, and like Jonathan Kuminga kind of does that. So I don't know if this is the perfect fit. I feel like if you're going to trade away all of this, you might be able to get a player that's better. But again, for the Brooklyn Nets, you call it into the league office immediately. Next, we got Nick Claxton. See, that's not a name I expected to see on this list, so I'm happy we're here. To the Boston Celtics for Anthony Simons, a second-round pick, and 1 first-round pick, top 5 protected. That's interesting. I think Nick Claxton, I mean, there's a report about all the centers on the market. They mentioned Anthony Davis. They mentioned Domantas Sabonis. They mentioned Vucevic. They mentioned Nick Claxton. Out of all of them, and I'm specifically thinking about for the Boston Celtics, out of all of the centers that are available and like within grasp, I think Nicholas Claxton makes a ton of sense. Obviously, this wouldn't be a trade for the now. This is like next year, we finally got our center because right now they're running like Luka Guards and the man's Cato, who when he played, his on-off numbers are ridiculous. It's a good player to go get if you are the Boston Celtics. I'm thinking about it from the Nets perspective. I guess flipping Nicholas Claxton to a first round pick is good. It's a 2027. And in your mind, the Boston Celtics are back to being a playoff team at minimum in 2027. So it's like trading him away for pick number 20 through 28 or something like that. Because Anthony Simons is expiring. I don't see them retaining him. It's an interesting concept. And if it happened, I wouldn't be too up in arms. I think it would make sense. But maybe if I'm the Brooklyn Nets, I want a little bit more valuable first round pick. And maybe that's me overvaluing Nicholas Claxton. Because 2 years ago, Nicholas Claxton is one of my favorite defensive bigs to watch in the league. Since then, it has not been perfect. But again, he's played for teams with less than 30 wins. So it's like maybe he took his foot off the gas and he goes to Boston and boom, he's back to being that big switchable defender and all. But maybe you want to try to get better than a 2027 top 5 protected from a really good team. But it's interesting. Next, we got Ja Morant. That boy flying that Dior. Interesting. Ja Morant to the Toronto Raptors for Emmanuel Quickley, Grady Dick, a 2026 second round pick, and 1 first round pick from 2028 top 3 protected. Whoa. Okay. So here's the thing. I always struggle with trying to figure out a team that is successful, which that's exactly what the Toronto Raptors are. Go watch the video I dropped a couple days ago about them. They've been doing some really good stuff. I always struggle with understanding when to make trades on a team that's doing well. And I think that's what the Toronto Raptors are. They're doing well. This does feel like a Toronto Raptors trade in the sense that, as we know, the Toronto Raptors are not a team that goes out in free agency and goes and spend a bunch of money. Usually their free agency is via trade. They just did with Brandon Ingram, right? Trading for a guy that had little to low value. I think it was like Bruce Brown, one other player that I'm forgetting, and a really protected first round pick that the Pelicans got. And then the Pelicans traded that pick back to Indiana. It was an Indiana pick. So they brought in on Brandon Ingram for a low price. It does feel on brand for the Toronto Raptors to do the exact same thing for a guy like Ja Morant. And we talk about point guard play for them. Emmanuel Quickley has picked it up, obviously. But if you believe that Ja Morant still got a lot left in the tank, he's obviously he's good. The thing I struggle with, though, when it comes to Ja Morant specifically on the Toronto Raptors, as we know, they're not a ridiculously great three-point shooting team. Emmanuel Quickley is one of the few guys who can shoot off the bounce or shoot off the catch, so you're missing some of that. But they are a fast break heavy team. Ja Morant could come in and immediately just help that team in that aspect. They got a great screen setter in Jakob, so we may see some high pick and rolls, which is exactly what Ja Morant will want. I know that the Grizzlies fans will hate this trade, though, to trade away what they deemed to be a franchise guy just a few years ago for a top 3 protected pick is what it turns out to be, would hurt bad. I'm talking myself into this, though, from the Toronto Raptors perspective. And if you're the Memphis Grizzlies, you feel like maybe you can get more, but maybe you can't. Ja Morant has not been healthy. He just hasn't been healthy. That's another blind spot in my talking about the NBA is how do you value someone that does struggle to stay healthy? How do you value somebody who's not on the best of contracts, right? Because you think about dang, you're going to get 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane, and then you trade Ja, and you only get 1? And Grady, right? Grady's a nice, intriguing prospect. Emmanuel Quickley's not bad. He just got a long contract with a lot of money on it. This is interesting. That's all I can say. At the end of the day, we look at these trade videos. I'm not trying to decide. Well, I am trying to decide what's a good or bad trade, but at the most part, I want to think. And this trade made me think. And I think I'm starting to like it a lot more for the Toronto Raptors than for the Memphis Grizzlies, but maybe I'm overvaluing a guy who relies on athleticism that is currently shooting 30-something% from the field. Next, Daniel Gafford to the Lakers for Jared Vanderbilt, Don Connect in the 2031. Whoa, okay, so that 2031 is and for a while it was one of the most intriguing trade chips in the NBA. But now that they have Luka Doncic is just a playoff team by himself, so maybe the 2031 pick is not that interesting. But again, we've seen teams feel that way, and then knock on wood, Luka Doncic sprains his ankle in 2031, and the team that was projected to be a playoff team is no longer a playoff team, and boom, if you're the Dallas Mavericks, you just got a nice pick. The reality of it is, this trade could not happen because I don't think the Dallas Mavericks and the Lakers can ever make a trade again. We need 30 years post Luka Doncic before those teams even talk to each other again. Because regardless of whether or not who wins or who does it leaves a bad taste in the mouth of the fan base if you are trading away one of the best players of franchise history, only behind Dirk, and trading him to that team, and then calling them back a year later and say, hey, do you also want the center that was playing with him? We'll take back Dalton Connect, who ain't good. So I just don't think you can do it from that perspective alone. It's a really good player to have for the Lakers because we know Daniel Gafford would be okay with coming off the bench if necessary. We know he would be okay with starting, right? And DeAndre Ayton is not in the contract for much longer than this season. So if you feel like you can't bring back DeAndre Ayton, we saw Luka Doncic and Daniel Gafford look pretty damn good together when he was breaking Wilt Chamberlain records and field goal percentage and stuff like that. Shout out to my boy D Gaff. Trae Young. I think I said him earlier. This is a guy expected to be here. Let's see what we got. To the Phoenix Suns. Matt Ispias going back to being the crazy owner. Going back to being a crazy owner. We need more crazy owners, but everybody but my favorite team. Jalen Green, Nick Richards, Rasheed Fleming, a 2027 first round pick via a bunch of teams, and a 2029. See, this is another one. Trae Young's on an expiring. So whoever trades for Trae Young, similarly with Anthony Davis, who's not an expiring, but his contract is eligible, they're going to have to pay him. Right, they're gonna have to be the team to decide whether or not Trae Young is worth the max, if he's worth less than the max, yada yada yada. One first round pick, see that's blowing my mind. That 2 years ago, if Ja Morant and Trae Young were on the market, and I told you that the offers were going to have one first round pick each, you would be like, Kenny, you are crazy. Oh man, for the Phoenix Suns, this is interesting, right? Because Jalen Green in his 2 games, right? Was it 2? I think it was about 2 games. Or was it 1? Regardless. In his few games or 1 game, it looked pretty good. I'm very intrigued about the Suns at large, but really intrigued with Jalen Green's fit from the little amount of time we've seen with him. But also, you're not committed to him because you've only seen that much, right? So, like, I'm sure Suns fans like him, but they not engaged. You know, they not married to him. Nick Richards is okay, but they got a few other centers over there between Mark Williams, between Oso Ighodaro, who I know Suns fans are wishy-washy about as well. And then they got Maluwatch as a third string over there, so you can maybe feel like Nick Richards is expendable. Rasheed Fleming, I don't have an NBA opinion about just yet. I did like him in college and all. And then a first-round pick via some teams, and I don't know exactly what the hell that means. From the Suns, that leaves you with Trae Young, with Devin Booker, with Grayson Allen when he's healthy, with Royce O'Neal and Mark Williams. And Mark Williams will be that lob threat for that boy Trae Young. Still got Colin Gillespie off the bench. Still got Ryan Dunn. I'm not mad at it. I think the Suns are also going to have to be one of those teams operating as if the trade market is their free agency. They don't have much incentive to rebuild or tank through it all, right? So, like, getting a guy as talented as Trae Young into the organization could be interesting. I think one of the coolest things about the Suns, I didn't mention Dylan Brooks. I'm sorry, Dylan. I think I gave Grayson Allen your starting spot. You're the starter over there. I'm sorry. Grayson Allen's been good too, though. One of the things I love the most about this Suns team is that their defensive identity is that team plays really, really hard. I think I heard who was it? Van Gundy said that the Suns are the hardest playing team in the NBA. And that's high praise from a really good announcer and a really good former coach and all. And Trae Young going into that defensive identity shrinks at least a little bit. Your offensive systems that you run and change at least a little bit, unless you can completely convince Trae Young to mold himself after what's going on over there. It's again a very thought-provoking trade. From the Atlanta Hawks perspective, that leaves you with like Nikhil, it leaves you with Jalen Johnson, and now you bring in Jalen Green. All the Jalen's in the world end up on that team. It ain't the ugliest fit, man. It ain't the ugliest fit. It is not the ugliest fit, Jalen Green over there. I think I like this trade. Maybe we're undervaluing with just one first round pick. Sure. But I'm not even thinking about that. But I call to the league office. I'm intrigued. And I think Trae Young will look good in the Valley jerseys. I'm trying to picture it. Shout out to Trae. Domantas Sabonis. Oh, I can't even imagine what team will call about Domantas Sabonis. He's obviously such a talented ball player. But you see it kind of happening in Sacramento right now. This is before I even look at the trade. His overall production has dropped so much because they're not playing through him anymore. And he's losing value off of that. So whatever team is traded for him, you kind of feel obligated to run your system through him because that's where he has been the most valuable as a former All-Star, All-NBA player and stuff. So let's see what team is calling. It's the Warriors. In this one, it is a different Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, Buddy Hield, but also they throw in Trace Jackson Davis in a 2028 first-round pick, top 5 protected. If you are the Kings, I think this is good value for Domantas Sabonis. Again, you take the, I don't want to even call it a flyer because Jonathan Kuminga is very talented, but you take in Jonathan Kuminga, him and Keegan Murray. It's like the start of the rebuild, if you will. You get a pick that is top 5 protected, but it is a pick nonetheless. You get off the Domantas Sabonis contract, which I think they just gave him last offseason. You get back some filler. I mean, Moses Moody's better than filler, but he's not like a life-changing guy. I don't know if I like this for the Warriors, though. Can him and Draymond Green squash the beef for the sake of hoops? I don't know. If somebody stomped on my torso, it's going to take a lot. I mean, maybe Sabonis is a bigger man than I am. It's going to take a lot for me to look him in the eye and dap him up. I'm sorry. Stomped on my torso in a playoff series, and we eventually lost because you stomped on my torso and my other star player had a broken hand or whatever. Maybe I do like it from the Warriors perspective. And I'm flipping sides. But he obviously is a very talented passer. You know, that it fits in that. He has become at least an adequate three-point shooter. Like, you know, I mean, he's not going to take a ton, but teams are leaving him open, and he'll make them occasionally. That's an interesting one. LaMelo Ball to the Wizards. LaMelo Ball for CJ McCollum. Shout out to CJ. Just had a great night the other night for their third win. I forget. Bub Carrington. Oof. Trading away Bub Carrington already will be tough because you traded Denny Abdia for him. A second-round pick, 2 second-round picks, and 2 first-round picks. This one is via Boston, Milwaukee, or Portland. I don't like when they do this because what is the protection? When do we get it? Who is it from? Because if it's from Milwaukee, then maybe it's interesting because maybe they're not good. If it's from Boston, it's not that good. If it's from Portland, who the hell knows? And then a 2031 first-round pick. I will say this right now from a Wizards perspective. There's just not enough building blocks yet for me to start trading away picks this far out. Simply put. I don't know what this does. I mean, obviously it gives them a ball handler, a 1A ball handler. And honestly, I think one of the things that's missing from the Wizards is somebody that can floor set and somebody that can change the tempo and the pace and be a creative passer. So that helps. But it also doesn't help enough. Do we look at them and be like, yeah, LaMelo goes to the Wizards and then next year they're going to be a playoff team. Him, Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George, Trey Johnson? No, I'm joking. No, I don't think so. And LaMelo Ball is like, damn, I went from ass to ass. That team has 2 wins on the season. At least my team got 4. You know what I mean? At least my team got 4 wins. I don't know. I don't like this at all. From either team. Yeah, I don't like either team. Trey Murphy third. Trey Murphy, Sadiq Bey to the Spurs. Calling to the league office. The Spurs won the trade already. Trey Murphy's the perfect guy to put alongside Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox, and the other young guards. Anyway, they get back Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, Carter Bryant going out the door, and a 2026 second-round pick. They do get a first-round pick via Atlanta. Atlanta in 2020, I mean, that pick could be not that good. 2028 second and a 2031 first via San Antonio or... See, you got to tell me. Is it the best pick between these two, or is it the worst pick between these two? Because you're telling me this is a Kings pick in 2031. Hell yeah, I'm excited. But if it's a Spurs pick from 2021, I'm not, or 2031, because it's Wembanyama on that team. Well, who knows what's going to happen. From the Spurs perspective, call into the league office. I got my team, and now I can go out there and really compete for a top 4 seed in the Western Conference and keep the top 4 seed in the Western Conference. Because as much as we like Keldon or Jeremy or the young Carter Bryant, I don't know if any of those guys will be as good as Trey Murphy. Sadiq Bey is fine. He's swole as hell, so he can play the 4, the 3, the 2, everything but the 1 and the 5. It just feels weird because they're already in the gutter, the Pelicans are, and giving that pick up to Atlanta. And if we trade Trey Murphy and Sadiq Bey, we're just guaranteeing that we're giving Atlanta a top 5 pick. And I just don't know if they're ready for that conversation. Here's the Anthony Davis trade. I'm assuming it's to the Bulls because I don't know any other buyers that would. Yeah, it's to the Bulls. Kobe White, Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins, a 2031 and a C. I can't do it. I just can't give up. The Bulls are not close enough to be giving up a 2030 first round pick. We're in 2025 going to 2026. That pick is 4 years down. Anthony Davis will be 36, 37 years old by the time this first pick conveys. Hell no. I would love to see AD in the Bulls jersey if the price is right. This is too valuable. This is too valuable to me. I love me some Kobe White. That literally is one of my favorite players of all time. Look at this. If you a car collector, you know these downtowns is pretty. I got a Kobe White downtown on my damn stand right here. That's one of my favorite players, Bulls players ever. So, I mean, it's not even about him getting traded. It's about the draft picks. It's about the draft picks, man. I cannot get there. The last time we made a trade similar to this, where we traded away 2 first-round picks or a pick in a swap, it didn't go as planned, and we traded away what ended up being Franz Wagner. And I guess I can't, it's not smart to look at previous bad things and be like, oh, that's going to happen again. But it's hard not to. This guy's older than what you would want him to be. He is a guy that has dealt with many injuries in the past, and whatever team trades for him has to extend him. It's just not. I'm okay with AD ended up on a team, but if it's going to cost us 2 first-round picks that far in the future, I just can't. I can't. We're not close enough. That 6-game start to start the season, as you can see, that wasn't us. That was not us. That team, I talked about it before. I don't like this trade. Last one is for Larry Markkanen. Does that mean to the Lakers? Oh, I saw LeBron in the back, so I thought it meant to the Lakers. But instead, it's to the Detroit Pistons for Toby, for Jaden, for Ron, and 2 picks. Wow. Wow. That's a lot. He's averaging 30. And I do love his fit in Detroit. I would try my very best to try to get this deal done without Ron Holland being in the trade. Maybe that's crazy. Maybe Ron Holland never actualizes all the potential I see in him. But I don't know if I could give up Ron Holland in this deal. Jaden Ivey, sure. Tobias Harris, absolutely. 2 first-round picks, I mean, at this rate, yeah. It's the Ron Holland of it all that makes it really difficult. From a Jazz perspective, I think this is really good value for him. I think it's great value for him. I just don't know if you're going to get that. And, I mean, maybe you will because it's Danny Ainge. And Danny Ainge always finds a way to win his trades. I want to keep Ron Holland by any means possible. That don't mean throwing in the SAR, though. That don't mean one or the other. Okay, let me know what you think about these 10 trades. I appreciate the team over there, BR, Zach Buckley, for putting together, making us think. These hats, those hoodies that I mentioned, they're still on sale. Enjoy BBALL.com. Go cop if you haven't already. And, yep, bye.